We are live. Good morning. It is Tuesday, June 21st, 2022. It is 5:55, a little bit late on the late side, but we're doing this remotely. How's sort of things going on? And we're finding out that our tools are not quite the happy tools they used to be to gather the information. My name is still Jake Cleveland Payne. However, that has not changed. And I'm going to give you 7 stories today. I'm going to cram in 7 stories real quick that you can use for your water cooler talk in this thing we call things you might have heard. These are stories that happened in the last 30 hours or so, and you actually had a hand in picking them. You actually did a job in actually vetting the stories we have here. We had about 35 stories within the last 30 hours posted every 50 minutes on our feeds, and we picked from the top 15, and then we spread them out, the ones that seem the most conversational. Thank you so much for joining us live or on the replay. Give us a comment so we can give you your shout outs a bit later, even if it's later in the future. Right now, let's get in on the great things. Remember, our main website is this is the conversationproject.com. You can go ahead and check that out now, but you can find out things about sponsorships, how to get in with our sponsors, how to partner up with us, and more about the background of the Conversation Project. Right now, first story coming out the bat: Americans off by a whopping $133 dollars when guessing how much they spend on monthly subscriptions. This is a local news story you pulled off of a website from the aggregator. So this is a local story, but it goes to basically an AP story that's a national survey. National survey saw that people thought they were spending about $133 less on their subscription services, and that's calling your YouTube TV, which is I use, your Netflix or Hulu and whatnot. I went down a quick list of all the subscription services that we actually use in my house, or say, let's say I pay for my house. I'm not sure exactly if we actually use them. And it's a whopping, shocking large number of things that I don't watch very often. Some of them are bundled, some of them are just used frequently, some of them are for the kid back when the kid was more of a kid, and some of them are just sort of splurges for watching one thing that we just sort of never gave up. And every so often we remember it's there and we look for something and don't find things. So if you're looking to save a little money on your bills, I'm not going to highlight any particular app or anything like that, but there's plenty of apps that goes through your subscriptions, goes through your payments, and says this is something recurring. Do you want to keep this thing going? And we'll kill it. Or just do what most of us don't actually do properly. Look at your bank statement. It will tell you what you're spending. Just a thought. Next story, a much more critical story, if you will. Republican states trying to ban abortion, expand health benefits for new mothers. The Guardian.com giving us this one. And it's odd that basically a tabloid from overseas, from London, is giving us this as our main headline. This is the only place I basically found this story, but this is what we're finding out as a way to combat the killing, pun intended, of abortion rights across the nation. One of the things that basically gets caught up in the discussion of abortion rights, if you will, or abortion clinics, the ability to get an abortion, women's health care, or things like that, is the fact that many places that provide these services are in many cases the only places women have for female health issues. They don't have the ability to pay for a full-time doctor, full-time gynecologist, full-time, sometimes full-time like med doctor, just a primary care doctor. And so when they go to these facilities, their facilities also offer basic women's health. And so when you shut down these facilities because they don't do the air quotes money-making procedures of abortions, you lose those things there. So Republicans are trying to find ways to expand health benefits for women and new mothers to make sure that those new mothers can take care of their babies that they are forcing to have. And I use that word specifically, forcing to have. I'm not trying to get on any side of the debate right now because we could do that much, much later. But this is what's happening. This is a way, maybe, that the Republicans are trying to make things right by what they're trying to do. They're literally taking away rights, but making it right for the healthcare system. Now, your agreement on the right itself is a whole nother issue, and the agreement on whether women have enough healthcare benefits, healthcare just options at all, that's a whole nother issue as well. Republican states seem to be trying to do something to fix this, but what they're doing is maybe not the best fix that they could come up with. That's a political statement. We'll deal with that much later. Barron Trump, 16, cruelly trolled over his 6'7" height by social media bullies, sharing shocking memes. The Sun.com gave us this one. That's one that I'm calling quick BS on, because nobody's trolling Barron Trump. All they're saying is Barron Trump is really, really tall. being a 16-year-old and 6'7" means you're really, really tall. Them, unfortunately, are facts. And they aren't beating him down for anything else other than the fact that his dad is Donald Trump. So if the memes are, we're sorry your dad is Donald Trump and you're really, really tall for a 16-year-old, then I guess we don't really understand the nature of memes and what they're supposed to be doing. Let me repeat that. Barron Trump is 16 years old. He's also 6'7". He's really tall. People on social media saying Barron Trump is really tall is not sharing cruel memes. That's saying Barron Trump is really, really tall. End of discussion. Next story. CDC tells public to not, quote, kiss or snuggle, unquote, chickens, ducks, backyard poultry amidst salmonella outbreaks. FoxNews.com gives us this one. And while I want to usually pick on Fox News for throwing out these types of stories because that's what they do, some people like to kiss and snuggle their chickens, ducks, and backyard poultry because that's what they do. However, salmonella, really, really sick, bad diseases, don't want to get them. So this is not the time to show the love to the ducks and chickens and backyard poultry you have because salmonella is there and you get sick. I'm not sure why we have to actually say this, but we thank Fox News for giving this reminder. Just like when I did traffic and weather on the radio, when it rained, I had to say things like turn on your wipers and turn on your lights because most times people took that third traffic report to say, oh, my wipers aren't on and my lights aren't on because people are humans and that's how it goes. Please, public service announcement. Do not kiss or snuggle your chickens or ducks or backyard poultry at this time of emergency amid the salmonella outbreaks. Not quite wearing a mask, but there you go. Israel heads for fifth election in 3 years after government collapses. APnews.com gives us this basic story. And this is something as a person who follows our government fairly closely for, I may not be the best in civics and the best in following parliamentary procedures, but I like to follow the way government works and the way things work. My brain works that way. I like processes. The parliamentary process that they use in Israel, very similar to what they use over in England, except they don't disband they don't disband their government every other year because coalitions break down. You can have this is a prime example of multiple party rule where various people in various parties, usually essentially representing just a certain group of folks, will be voted in various places, and they have to come to some sort of coalition, basically a grouping of a majority to get things done, because otherwise people are always voting against each other. The coalition has just collapsed again for Israel's government. So the current prime minister is literally shutting it down. Now, they don't go lawless. They're going to have a provisional prime minister who just sort of babysits the process while they have new elections. Yes, a new set of elections for the third time or the fifth time in 3 years, a new set of elections for all the people to come up together, to come into the parliament. And then some groups have to do the coalition thing again to come up with the government that you have. Now, what was supposed to happen, what was trying to be happened, not grammatically correct, we'll get back to that later, is Benjamin Netanyahu was basically trying to disband the government because he was in charge before. He lost. And he was trying to basically break things up. The current prime minister basically broke it up before he could do that. And now we have to go back to full slates of actual elections. We'll see how that works out going forward. We love Israel. I love Israel. I'll say it 300 times you need to. But so this is not a slight against Israel, but there are some things that Israel-ish that aren't as great as people are touting, especially the way they run their politics and sometimes the people that run their politics. But we have some of that over here as well. Two quick stories on athletes doing stupid things. Karl-Anthony Towns was once caught with PornHub open on his screen during a live stream. We already had a PornHub story. I mean, I'm sure it was PornHub. Yes, it was PornHub yesterday, where a story about the analyst may not have made it into the top 30. Maybe that didn't happen there. We had a story about an analyst who was on TV doing a live stream, and then of course had porn in the background. It happens. Karl-Anthony Towns had it on his phone while he was screenshot during the live stream. Oh, this is another one that happens as well. I got mixing that one. It's so much. If there's a PornHub study, we always do. If you're new to us, this is PornHub study. We always do PornHub. It's just a thing that people seem to like. And Saquon Barkley lost a ton from turning his contract into Bitcoin. That was really, really dumb. Now, if you want to go deeper in those stories, check out the rundown and go deeper into those stories. Pun intended for one, not for the other. But you can go deeper into how they got into those situations, what they're going to do about it, and how in Karl-Anthony Towns' issue, it's going to be shame and ridicule, and in Saquon Barkley is going to be hopefully sound financial advice going forward in his contracts. Teaser story for possibly tomorrow. If you want to talk this one up, let me know. This one's being posted. I already posted, I think, about 5 minutes ago. Yes, about 5 minutes ago, right before we went on, right as we went on the air, I guess. Uvalde parents, community members call for chief's resignation at emotional school board meeting. Uvalde's not going away, and it's not going away mostly because Uvalde keeps getting worse. We have new information that shows that police officers were there within about 19 minutes of the gunman starting the action, but of course did not engage for 74 or so minutes. In fact, there was some confusion back and forth on what to do because they didn't have the protocols. They didn't know what was going on. They had no idea that people were alive, or maybe they did. We're not sure. There's not a lot of transparency in the investigation, but as things leak and or reporters find out about them, this turns into big things. Right now, we're at this somebody should get fired stage after it was hailed as a glorious, momentous, great operation, the best they could do. Now we're at the this is screwed up, somebody gets fired stage, and we're going to figure out where that is coming forward. This is a story that you want to talk about. You can vote it up with engagement in the feeds. We'll talk about that in just a moment, how the engagement works. Like I said, you vet the stories for us to do. Right now, let's talk about the pretty words that I'm not talking today and the grammar that's not going so well. And you can do better than I am, and I should do better as well by going to Grammarly. Check out thisisaconversationproject.com/Grammarly. That is thisisaconversationproject.com/Grammarly. It is an affiliate link that allows you to pay us a little bit for you getting on the ground floor for Grammarly. Grammarly is a software. It's a app. It's a way of life, if you will. As it says there in the banner, great writing simplified. Basically, you take your writing to the altar of Grammarly, you press a button, and it will grade you on how you're doing. It will tell you how great your words are, how not so great your words are, and give you suggestions for everything. And you just click, 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 and it cleans things up. You can use it as your secondary or your third level of spell checking, but trust me, it becomes your first pretty quickly. You can use it alongside your Microsoft Office, although it also has an integration app that works inside your Office apps. You can use it inside your web browser, right? Basically, everything I do from Gmail to whatnot gets picked up and gets a chance to be spell checked Grammarly. It works on your phone. It does everything you need to do to have the pretty words look pretty and for your speeches. It also does things like plagiarism checks and checks for styles for your big time papers. It's worth the price. And if you're in education, call them up and find out getting a education version of it, as you can pay less for it and get it for your campus. I talked to them once to try that. It's a pretty big deal about getting it for everybody. Check out Grammarly today at thisisaconversationproject.com/Grammarly. This is an affiliate link, so we get a little piece of the action for this, but it helps keep the lights on, although they're lights aren't on very well here in the hotel because hotels are dim. I'm not sure why. I could open the curtain, but then it would just blind everything. So let's move on to what we need to talk about going forward, and that is the feeds. Our main website is thisisconversationproject.com. Stop by, say hello, see how we're doing, and check out various things, including our sponsors page, so you can help us keep the lights on, or the lights in general on, and our partnership page, so you can see what you can do to help us keep things rolling around here as well. The feeds is where we have the story. And yesterday, we found out that Facebook/Meta had a brand new page for its stats for its pages, so we were a little lax in getting information properly. We figured it out. Well, at least we found the data. We have to refigure out our algorithm and refigure out our spreadsheet, but we got it in today. We pushed in while we're a little bit late. So go to facebook.com/thisisAconversationProject, and you can see in your Facebook feed every 50 minutes as we post the stories. Engage with them, and we get more points there. Twitter.com/th_conversation. Same thing there. Engage as you see them. And the higher the score of engagement you get every day, we cut it off at 5 in the morning and go from 5 a.m. all the way back to midnight the day prior. And we just tally up the scores with the Facebook and the Twitter engagement, get a full engagement score, take the top 15 stories from Tuesday through Thursday, and present for you 5 to 7 stories, 7 stories a day. Usually with more fanfare, but at home I have 2 big monitors and a bunch of different things and gizmos and whatnot, and I can flip the screens back and forth. I can't do it on the road, but it's working okay. So in fact, you can let me know how it's working on the road, and just give me comments and let me know how it's working on that one. And the YouTube channel, if you're not watching this on the YouTube channel for the Conversation Project, we need more followers there so we can get that custom name. This is conversationproject.com/YouTube. Follow us, so subscribe, and then, of course, hit notification bell. So when this thing goes live about 5:50, you get the notification, and we can do this thing live with y'all out there. Last thing, today things going on June 21st, birthdays for today. If you're under 45, we don't care about you today, because today we're celebrating your ship's captain from the Love Boat, Bernie Copel, 89 years old today. Also, remember, Meredith Baxter, no longer Bernie, and Michael Gross, the parents from Family Ties, both 75 years old today. Same birthday, share the same birthday, and share the great love for acting and a great love for a sitcom for all those years way back when. A staple of the 80s, the Family Ties, along with other family shows that we can't name anymore because of litigation for people who were involved. We're sad about that. Family Ties was a staple, of course. The Out, where you find out about basically the big launch for Michael J. Fox. I was going to say Leonardo DiCaprio, but that was Growing Pains. Wrong show. Sorry, got that confused. And also, summer begins, or actually began about 2 hours ago. So it is officially summer. Their days are now officially longer than they were shorter. So congratulations. It was already hot about 3 weeks ago. So you already had that taste going on. One last thing as we go out the door. A study says there are 20 million flies for every human on Earth. So if you are believing that you are going to vanquish those flies at the barbecue, you, my friend, sadly mistaken. This has been Things You Might Not Have Heard for this day, or the day before prior, actually, Tuesday, June 21st, 2022. I am Jay Cleveland Payne. This was a production of the Conversation Project, and we're glad to have you around with us. Make sure you stick around for more great things. Actually, don't stick around. Just go to our website and see things. I got work to do. I got a convention. I got to do some stuff. So make sure you also stay hydrated, of course. Stay limber and on task, because there are many great things you need to do. So continue on. I know you may be still going on that Juneteenth actual day off hangover. Remember the reason why we had the day off yesterday, and remember what you have going forward, the great things you're going to do, and all that jazz. I'm cutting out. We've got things to do here, and you've got things to do there. So let's have a great day. A quick shout out to Christina with the K for checking in live today and checking in on me, all that stuff. And with that, we're going to bid you adieu.